It started with a headline just so shocking, it really stopped Hollywood cold. Reality TV personality Masika Kalysha's estranged husband, Jamar Champ, killed.
Yeah, killed in this incredibly violent wrong-way crash involving multiple vehicles.
Right, on a Houston freeway, October 28th, 2025. And it wasn't simple. His silver Tesla Cybertruck, a BMW going the wrong way, and an 18-wheeler. Just chaos.
Welcome to Star Scoop Report.
We're Jordan and Jamie, and today we're diving deep into this story. It's really a collision of celebrity tragedy, complex forensics, and this really difficult legal situation.
And our mission here is always to break down the Hollywood drama, the music industry stuff, the influencer scandals. We get into the stories behind those headlines.
Because, the sources we looked at, they paint a picture that's way more complex and honestly much more human than what you probably saw in the initial news slurry.
Absolutely. The media just jumped on that estranged husband label. But like the actual details, we're talking a horrific 3-vehicle crash sequence. And crucial stuff about their annulment. Was it even final? And the really heart-wrenching part is that Jamar Champ, he wasn't just some separated guy. He was apparently a central father figure for the whole family.
Exactly. So the tragedy itself is huge, obviously. But then you filter it through this intense celebrity news lens, and it kind of warps the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we need to ask, what are the big unanswered questions here about the wrong way driver? And what was the actual legal status of their marriage when this happened? Because that matters.
Okay, let's start with the collision itself, because the way it was first reported, it really didn't capture how violent this was.
Right.
So the victim, Jamar Champ, 38 years old. The press mostly called him an entrepreneur, former college football player.
Okay.
And the time and place, just after midnight, Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. Katy Freeway, that's I-10 in Houston.
And the sequence, this is critical. The forensics show it wasn't just, a fender bender. It was this violent 3-vehicle chain reaction. Mr. Champ's Cybertruck basically got hit twice. Hard.
Right. So, vehicle 1, a silver BMW. And this is the key part. It was going the wrong way. Westbound traffic, but in the eastbound lanes. Just unbelievable.
Wow.
The sources confirm this BMW hit Jamar Champ's Cybertruck head-on. That first impact, it was so severe the BMW just burst into flames almost immediately.
Okay, wait. So the Cybertruck, which, they market as being incredibly tough, almost overbuilt for safety, it takes the full force of a head-on, wrong way hit first?
Seems like it.
Could that structure, have actually saved him from dying in that first impact?
It's possible it prolonged things, yeah. The sources suggest the BMW driver probably died instantly in the fire.
Okay.
But Mr. Champ, though critically injured, might not have died from that first hit. Because then, the sources say, the Cybertruck, after that huge head-on blow, it spun or was somehow redirected right into Vehicle 3, a blue Freightliner 18-wheeler, a semi-truck.
Oh, my God. So 2 massive impacts back-to-back. Head-on from the BMW, then slammed by a semi. That changes everything.
Yeah, it basically makes survival almost impossible. And tragically, it resulted in 2 confirmed deaths. Jamar Champ, he was taken to the hospital, critical, but died there. And the unidentified driver of the wrong way BMW, the truck driver, thankfully, was apparently unharmed.
Okay, I want to quickly address something that popped up in some early reports. A few places mentioned a fellow rider in Champ's Cybertruck.
Right, I saw that too.
But the detailed forensic accounts, which tracked all 3 drivers, they strongly suggest that was just an early mistake, an error in reporting. The evidence really points to only 2 people dying, Champ and the BMW driver.
Yeah, it's important to clear that up, because in these high-profile situations, any confusion just fuels rumors.
Definitely.
And speaking of high profile, this is where the whole celebrity filter thing really kicks in. The reason this got national attention overwhelmingly is because of Mr. Champ's connection to Masika Kalysha. She's 40, known from Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood, growing up hip hop.
Oh, absolutely. The filter is undeniable. Every single headline, it seemed, identified him through her first. Love and hip hop star Masika Kalysha's husband. He became almost a footnote in his own death announcement.
And think about what that does. His own life, his identity entrepreneur, former football player, it got completely pushed aside.
Yeah.
The media didn't really dig into his businesses, his sports background, anything outside that celebrity link. It just eclipsed his personal story.
But that's kind of how celebrity news works, isn't it?
Yeah.
It runs on recognition. If the main way people know the victim is through the celebrity, well, that becomes the hook.
Right.
And the actual person, Jamar Champ, he just gets reduced to that label. Estranged husband.
And that label, estranged, it brings us to the really complex human part of this story, because that word just doesn't capture the family situation they actually had.
Okay, let's look at the timeline. It all happened pretty fast in public view.
Mm.
Engaged in 2020, married in 2021.
Mm.
Then their daughter, Amari Hermes Champ, was born in 2022. She'd be about 3 now.
Right. But by 2023, there were reports the marriage was strained. And Masika herself confirmed it on Instagram Live, said they'd separated, were living apart for all of 2023.
And then she took the next step.
Yeah.
Filed for an annulment in early 2024.
Yeah, an annulment, not a divorce, which usually suggests trying to void the marriage entirely, often for reasons like fraud or something specific like that. She even called him her soon-to-be ex-husband publicly during mediation talks.
Okay, but here's the absolute key point, legally and emotionally. When he died in October 2025, it's really unclear if that annulment was ever actually finalized.
Exactly. That lack of clarity changes everything. If it wasn't finalized, then legally. He died a married man.
Wow.
Which means Masika, despite the estranged label everyone was using, she could potentially be his legal next of kin. For hospital decisions initially, maybe, but definitely for his estate, assets, all that probate stuff.
So the media is pushing estranged, but the law might see her as his widow, essentially. Potentially the main inheritor, depending on wills and things like that.
It's entirely possible. The legal label that was meant to show distance might actually end up binding them financially, administratively after his death. It's this really painful gray area between separating emotionally and being separate legally.
Okay.
And this leads to what I think is the real aha moment in the sources we read. It explains why her grief seems so profound despite the separation. They might have been legally splitting up, but sources say they remained on good terms as co-parents. But Jamar's role, it went deeper than just co-parenting Amari, their biological daughter.
Oh, so what else is going on?
Well, this is the crucial part. The sources make it clear. Jamar had also stepped up as a stepfather figure for Masika's older daughter, Kari.
Kari, whose dad is Fetty Walk, the rapper.
That's the one. He wasn't just popping in for his biological daughter. He was apparently actively involved, played a vital role in raising Masika's daughter, Kari, helped raise both kids.
So his death wasn't just the loss of a co-parent for one child. It was the loss of a central, active father figure for the entire family unit. Legally estranged or not, that was his role in their lives.
Exactly. The legal papers don't reflect the emotional reality, the day-to-day reality of who he was to those kids and to Masika as a co-parent and step-parent.
Suddenly her public reaction, her grief, it makes total sense. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And that loss immediately gets thrown into the public eye, which is just the terrible paradox of being a reality star. You have to process this unimaginable horror under a spotlight you can't turn off.
Yeah, she publicly confirmed the tragic loss. Reports said she was devastated, in shambles. She even shared that detail about being woken up at 2 a.m. with the worst news of my life.
Which lines up with when police usually make those kinds of notifications after a fatal accident like that.
Right. But what's uniquely awful for someone in her position is having to use the same platforms, X, Instagram videos, the things that built her career, to then turn around and plead for privacy in her moment of deepest grief. Her fame forces her to communicate publicly, even when she desperately needs to withdraw.
And her reason for that plea really highlights the specific kind of horror celebrities face now.
What was it?
She wasn't just worried about gossip columns. She was terrified her young daughter would find out about her dad's violent death on social media or a news alert popping up on a phone or tablet.
Oh, God.
Before Masika could tell her herself, gently, privately. Imagine having to race the news cycle to shield your child from that kind of trauma. That's a uniquely modern celebrity kind of suffering.
Yeah, that's awful to even think about.
So, okay, despite all the media coverage focusing on the celebrity angle and the family tragedy, the actual crash investigation, that's still very much ongoing. There are still big unanswered questions.
Right. There are 3 key things we still don't have official confirmation on.
What are they?
First, we know the BMW driver died, but officials haven't released their identity yet. Who was the person driving the wrong way?
Okay, that's number 1.
Second, why were they driving the wrong way, westbound in the eastbound lanes? What caused that? Authorities still haven't determined the reason. It's listed as not known.
So the cause is a mystery. And the third?
Toxicology. That's crucial. Was the wrong way driver impaired? Drugs? Alcohol? That testing is pending, or at least the results haven't been made public. It's key to understanding why this happened.
Right, so still significant unknowns about the crash itself. So when you pull back and look at this whole story, what does it tell us? I mean, it's a truly heartbreaking reminder of how private loss gets twisted when it hits the celebrity news machine.
Yeah, it gets simplified, distorted.
This horrific, violent multi-vehicle crash somehow becomes just a headline about an estranged husband. It obscures the actual man, Jamar Champ, who was lost.
And it totally overlooks the reality that his family connection, his bond as an actor-father figure, was clearly much stronger, much more real than that cold legal term estranged ever suggested.
It really makes you think about what family actually means beyond the legal definitions.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about the intersection of, like, technology and tragedy here. In a high-profile case like this, where the marriage's legal status is fuzzy, what happens with the digital assets, social media accounts, online banking, financial stuff the media completely ignored? Does dealing with an annulment become way more complicated when one person is suddenly deceased, leaving behind this whole digital life?
That's a whole other layer of complexity in modern grief, especially under the spotlight.
Yeah.
Something to definitely think about as the details continue to emerge.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.